On November 13th, 2025, we flew to the province of Quebec, Canada for a short vacation. After arriving in Montreal and dropping off our luggage at our Verbo in Plateau Montreal, we walked to St. Viateur Bagel to purchase a variety of Montreal's famous bagels. The next morning, we took the metro to Old Montreal. We began our walk at Place d'Armes. The statue at the center of the square is dedicated to the founder of Montreal. From the square, we walked to Rue St. Paul and headed east on this very old and picturesque street. We passed Place Jacques Cartier and then walked over to the Old Port. After enjoying some hot chocolate next to the Ferris wheel, we headed back to Place d'Armes, passing by Montreal City Hall along the way. One of the buildings next to Place d'Armes is the Notre Dame Basilica of Montreal. Much of the construction occurred between 1824 and 1829. The bell towers weren't completed until 1841, and the facade wasn't completed until 1865. The massive pipe organ, built in 1891, has 7,000 individual pipes. Supposedly, over 11 million people visit this basilica each year, which is just about 1 million fewer than the Notre Dame of Paris. After having lunch, we walked through part of Montreal's underground city, and then took the metro to visit the Montreal Forum building. The Montreal Canadiens hockey team played in this building from 1926 to 1996. It now contains a movie theater and some shops. On the morning of November 15th, we took the train from Montreal to Quebec City. Quebec City is the capital of the province of Quebec. It was founded in 1608 and is one of the oldest European settlements in North America. Most of the residents of Quebec are native French speakers. Quartier Petit Champlain is located in Quebec's lower Old Town and is arguably one of the city's prettiest locations. Along the street are many shops and cafes. We had lunch at a restaurant that specializes in rabbit dishes, and later visited a wood carving shop.
And on the counter over here, all these little Santa Clauses that you see right there, black and white ones, those are actually chess pieces. Oh. We only have to do the board and we have chess game for the first time. Now if you look on the wall over here, you'll see a moose and a bear. Those are two pieces, so you can see better.
Place Royale is a site where Quebec City was founded and is considered the cradle of French civilization in North America. The mural next to the square, painted in 1999, illustrates the history of Quebec City and depicts a number of noteworthy historical figures. As it started to get dark, we continued on our way and walked by some interesting galleries, and then took some Ubers back to our Verbo that was located a little outside of the city center. On November 16th, some of us spent some time visiting Quebec City's Museum of Civilization. This museum contains two permanent exhibits. The first permanent exhibit covers the people of Quebec and traces the history of the city and province. The second permanent exhibit focuses on the Indigenous First Nations and Inuit people of Quebec. From the museum, we walked through Quebec's lower Old Town to meet up with the rest of the group. A few inches of snow had fallen overnight and then throughout the day, which turned the Old Town into a winter wonderland. After lunch at the Crazy Pig, we walked around a bit and took some pictures, and then took the funicular up to the old upper town of Quebec City.
This is a good snowball fight area. Here it is. You have
Dufferin Terrace provides excellent views of the old lower town. On the terrace is a toboggan run that opens in the winter. Unfortunately, despite the snow, it was not officially winter, so the slide was still closed. The Chateau Frontenac is a hotel which was built by the Canadian Pacific Railway Company and opened in 1893. It was one of the first of Canada's grand railway hotels. Despite being just a hotel, this landmark is considered the symbol of Quebec City and was designated a National Historical Site of Canada in 1981. During World War II, the hotel hosted two conferences attended by Franklin Roosevelt, Winston Churchill, and the Canadian Prime Minister William Lyon Mackenzie King. Other famous guests who have stayed at the hotel are King George IV, Chiang Kai-shek, Princess Grace of Monaco, and Paul McCartney. After leaving the Chateau Frontenac, we walked a bit through Quebec's old upper town. The Cathedral Basilica of Notre Dame of Quebec contains the only holy door in the Americas. The door is only open in Jubilee years designated by the Pope, which ordinarily occurs every 25 or 50 years, although there was a special Jubilee of Mercy in 2016. 2025 is a Jubilee year, so I was hoping that we'd be able to enter through the door. Unfortunately, it appeared that the Holy Door was closed for some reason when we visited. The Basilica was originally a small church that was built in 1647 and was at one time the oldest parish north of Mexico. It has been rebuilt many times due to fires, and it received battle damage during the Siege of Quebec by the British in 1759. The present structure was rebuilt after a fire that was caused by arson in 1922. We walked through the old upper town and took the funicular back down to the old lower town. Along the way, we got to see the Chateau Frontenac lit up at night. November 17th was our last full day in Quebec. We were planning on walking around near Quebec's Parliament building, but one of the Uber drivers decided to take half the group to Quebec City's Citadel instead. So the half that got dropped off at the Parliament building went on a 15-minute walk to meet up with the rest of the group at the Citadel. The French originally started building a defensive structure at the present location of the Citadel of Quebec in the late 1750s. The present structure was mostly built between 1820 and 1850 to secure Quebec against a possible American invasion. After the Treaty of Washington was signed in 1871 by the United Kingdom and the United States to settle various disputes, the British handed over the Citadel to the Canadian government. The Powder Magazine building once stored gunpowder. It now houses the museum of the Royal 22nd Regiment. The regiment's nickname is the Vendus, taken from the French word for the number 22. It is the only entirely French-speaking battalion of the Canadian Armed Forces. The Citadel is still an active military installation, so a guided tour is required to visit the buildings on the site. On the tour, we were able to enter some of the defensive fortifications that were never actually used.
So we're helping the cannon above us. All these yellow lines are all the firing angles of the cannons. I want to take a picture of it. So when you arrive today, you see the cannons hitting you here.
We also passed by a barber shop, the observatory and time ball tower, the old hospital building, and the officers' mess.
Heritage Cultural Languages since 1939. Ours is to do with the soldiers. They're going into war, they don't know what's ahead of them, and so they're remembering that some will come back and some will not. So I remember my fallen comrades. So be with them as much in the heart as they are.
We also pass by the residence of the Governor General of Canada when she visits Quebec City. The Governor General is the federal representative of King Charles III. The Citadel provided excellent views of both the old lower and upper towns of Quebec City. The former military prison now houses a stuffed goat named Batiste, which is the regimental mascot.
That's Batista 4.
Every day at noon, a cannon is fired to signal the time. After leaving the Citadel, we took an Uber to Rue Saint-Jean for lunch, walked around a bit, ate some crepes at a cafe, and then headed back to the Verbo. We reserved 2 Ubers to pick us up at around 3:30 a.m. on November 18th since we had a very early morning flight at 6 a.m. From Quebec City, we flew to Newark and then back to Nashville.
Si vous voulez que je chante, versez-moi un verre de vin.
Si vous voulez que je chante, versez-moi un verre de vin.
Qu'il soit doux ou qu'il m'enchante, pourvu que l'amour nous rassemble.
Ah ah ah, ne me donnez pas.
Si vous voulez que je chante,
Ah ah ah, ne me donnez pas.
jamais de l'eau entre les repas. Allez donc tous à la table, chercher du vin nouveau.
Allez donc tous à la table, chercher du vin nouveau.
Pour remplir tombleurs et verres, les bouteilles puis les pots.
Ah ah ah, ne me donnez pas.
Si vous voulez que je chante,
Ah ah ah, ne me donnez pas.
jamais de l'eau entre les repas. La veille est terminée, il faut penser à s'en aller.
La veillée est terminée, il faut penser à s'en aller.
Il est grand temps que je parte avant que je meure sur 4 pattes.
Ah ah ah, ne me donnez pas.
Si vous voulez que je chante,
Ah ah ah, ne me donnez pas.
jamais de l'eau entre les repas. Le matin quand je m'éveille, je me sens tout friponné.
Le matin quand je m'éveille, je me sens tout friponné.
D'avoir vidé vers ces bouteilles de ce bon vin qui nous réveille.
Ah ah ah, ne me donnez pas.
Si vous voulez que je chante,
Ah ah ah, ne me donnez pas.
jamais de l'eau entre les repas. Je voudrais que les rivières, les fontaines et les ruisseaux
Je voudrais que les rivières, les fontaines et les ruisseaux
viendraient rincer les chopes, les verres, les bouteilles puis les pots.
Ah ah ah, ne me donnez pas.
Si vous voulez que je chante,
Ah ah ah, ne me donnez pas.
jamais de l'eau entre les repas.